Morning, and first of all, thank you to anyone that has watched my fitness fragrance film I made yesterday involving SpongeBob SquarePants and the Bentley Burglar. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try and do a few more sort of comedy things, but they'll be not so much film related. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed filming it, and it actually really did keep me motivated during my run yesterday. However, you may have seen at the start, I was actually going to do a fitness fragrance review of this fragrance here, which is Raghba Wood Intense by Latifa. My plan was to do it anyway, but obviously yesterday I didn't do it. So we will do it today. So this is one of those sort of more normal videos that I usually do. If you haven't seen these before, I do a fitness fragrance sort of review. So essentially what I do is I go out for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout and walk back all morning while reviewing this fragrance. And that'll be on 5 categories. So the categories are price, value for money, versatility, projection, and we do like a room test. So I see how much the fragrance fills a room, compliment factor, and then just its overall sort of longevity. So does it survive the morning, and does it survive the shower test? How long does it survive on my skin? And there will be a score out of 50, and then we can give a full sort of thoughts on this fragrance. I really like this one. I've had it, no, I have only had it once actually. This is the first time I've had it, but my brother had it at first, and it sort of was a bit of a hate, and now it's changed to a little bit more of a like. But obviously, I don't know how it's going to score today. I really don't. It's going to be interesting to see how I feel during my workout, if my opinion changes. But yeah, this is very much suited to this climate. It's getting very chilly outside. I don't know if anyone's noticed. That's why I've got my hat on. So what I'm going to quickly do, just quickly talk about the note breakdown, a little bit about the bottle, and then we'll get on with our workout. Okay, so I've got the fragrance here. The note breakdown. So the top notes are caramel, licorice, guaiac wood, and cedar. The middle notes are oud, sugar, sandalwood, cashmere wood. So you can probably tell, and probably by the name, Raghba Wood Intense, what this is going to be like. And then in the base, you've got incense, vanilla, amber, oak moss, and musk. So what am I detecting with this? This is like a really like caramel overload sweetness mixed with woods. This is like, say you've been burning marshmallows over a fire, you've had a really nice sugary one you've burnt, you've just thrown the stick on the fire. It's that smelling. It's like, I think they're called s'mores in America, but where you sort of like cook s'mores over a fire. This is what it feels like. It's very cozy, but you definitely get that incense. The incense in the base you definitely detect with those vanilla notes. But yeah, if you really wanted just an overall sort of guide, this is like a caramel, woody burning fragrance, but it's not like a heavy burning fragrance. It's lovely, sickly sweet. It just smells like burning sugar. If you like the smell of burning sugar, then you're probably going to like this fragrance, but it's not in line with those sort of Western caramel scents. So I'm thinking of like Ferragamo Uomo, which I currently own. This one, it has that Middle Eastern vibe. You definitely can detect it, and that might just be that oud that it has in it, because a lot of these Middle Eastern fragrances do have oud. Definitely the incense though. The main notes I'm really picking up are the caramel, cedar, the sugar, and just those burning wood sort of notes. Just really, really nice in my opinion. Great fragrance, very, very cheap. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. But if anyone does worry about bottle design, it's got this sort of woody effect on it. I don't know if you can really see that, but this has this sort of wood feeling. The bottle is super heavy as well. There's a real strong glass base. I don't know if you can see that. Really strong. But the lid is just a sort of plastic one. But again, the atomizer, absolutely fine. So yeah, I really like the bottle design. I like how they've kept that sort of wood theme with it, and yeah, no complaints at all. Right, time to get on with this workout, and we'll start with the two sort of first categories. We're going to do price, value for money, and versatility. Not fancying this at the moment. Hopefully this caramel's going to keep me warm. It is chilly this morning. I've got my different phone. It's so much harder to hold, but look how much sharper it is. Right, price slash value for money. So you would have just seen a price from the scene though, which was £18, but 15 if it's sort of on offer, which it is at the moment. And to be honest with you, on eBay, you can kind of get sort of 12 to £15. That's what I roughly paid. Now, do I think that's good value for money? I always think if I was blindfolded and I'd never smelt this fragrance before, and someone said, "How much would you pay for this based on its scent?" I'd probably say about £40 to £50, just based on the complexity of it, because you really detect those sort of syrupy sweet notes like your caramel, you know, your sugar, those really nice vanilla notes, all of those you really detect. It's like syrupy, sticky sweet. But you also do detect those sort of resinous woods. So like your cedar, I love cedar as a note. you know, and you really do detect the sort of cashmere, all those sort of woods that it mentions in the note breakdown. But then you do get the oud and the incense, you really do. And it doesn't feel like, and normally these sort of price ranges, normally they can burn your nostrils, these phrases, because they're so synthetic. This doesn't smell synthetic to me. This smells really well blended, really well blended. It doesn't feel like the notes are competing against each other. You detect them all, but in a way where they've all kind of worked in harmony. And it just makes you, again, feel like you're sitting by a sort of fire outside, having some marshmallows or, you know, some nice sort of caramel biscuit thing, where you're with the family. And yeah, it just feels really nice and relaxed. It's a really good fragrance. It just has so much complexity about it. And obviously, as we're coming into that transition season now, getting a bit colder, I really like it. I really appreciate that. And I just think it does have that element of quality. You know, it feels like a lot of thought has gone into it. I don't believe this is actually a clone either. I think people have said it's like by the fireplace, but by Mason Margiela, but I've not had that one, but I have smelt it before. And yeah, it just, to me, it just doesn't have that. It definitely has that Middle Eastern vibe, whether that's the oud and the incense combining. You know, because it doesn't have the sort of citrus notes you'd expect maybe in a, you know, a modern fragrance like the cinnamon as well, tonka bean. You know, those sort of caramel fragrances do have them just to make them a bit lighter, a bit more juvenile. But it just smells high quality. It smells like someone who has really thought about what they're wearing and they're well put together. And for that reason, I think it's amazing value for money. So what would I give it as a score? I'm going to be good again. I've been giving some high scores for this lately, and this is right up there. 10 out of 10. Brilliant, brilliant fragrance, well put together. Smells a lot more expensive in my opinion than it actually is, and I'm really looking forward to wearing it this winter. So yeah, very good. Right, on to versatility. Okay then, so versatility. Can you dress this up, dress this down? Can you wear it all around the year? Is it unisex, different ages? How versatile is this fragrance? Well, I think we first of all have to say this is a cold weather fragrance, and it really taps into all those sort of genres that you're looking for in cold weather fragrances. Syrupy sweet, slightly balsamic, slightly smoky. You know, it's just got all those sort of things that people quite like in winter scents, what you're looking for, heavy notes. And again, because it's not got things like citrus, you know, it doesn't work in the summer. I had it over the summer. You're just not going to wear it. It's very dark, very resinous, but it's very, very nice for this sort of temperature. So it's a great cold weather scent. But yeah, it's not sort of suited to all year, let's say. Do I think you could dress this up? Sometimes things like oud and stuff you can, but I think this caramel sweetness is just very cosy. I don't think it's formal enough. There's a lot of, like I said, it's like a burnt sugar. That's what I really get from this. And I just don't think that's sort of your suit and tie sort of fragrance. I think you could pull this off on a night out though, I really do. I don't think it's quite as heavy as it used to be. When my brother first had it, maybe it's just because I've tried more fragrances since, but I don't think this is far too much. It's far too like woody. But this is, to me now, just become a lot sweeter, a lot more wearable, a lot more pleasant. It's not choking me out on my run this morning, you know, and it just feels like it's really well put together. So I think as a winter, you know, scent, you could certainly rock this as your signature winter scent, that's for sure. But it's not a gym fragrance or anything like that. I don't even think it's an office scent. I think it's very much limited to sort of nights out, cool winter days where you're outside as well. Maybe date night if you want to be a little bit more bold. It's definitely a bit more grown up though. You know, 25 and up at least. I think you would have wanted to have tried some sort of more juvenile caramel fragrances, because this definitely has that Middle Eastern vibe. You know, it doesn't have any citrus notes. I don't think it has tonka bean, cardamom, cinnamon, all those other notes you'd expect with caramel in these sort of Western fragrances. So I definitely think it's a bit more grown up, but it does have that element of classiness about it because of that. So what can I give it a score? Because it's not ultimately meant to be a versatile all-round scent anyway, and I think it does its job brilliantly for what it's meant to be for. So I think you could dress it up. I'm not saying, as I said, it's not perfect for that, definitely not. You could wear it as an office scent, but I wouldn't. But again, it is a lovely winter scent, and that's what it's meant to be. Definitely not unisex either. I'm going to say 7 out of 10. It's perfect for this season, but if you're someone that's looking for a more safe winter sort of caramel western type fragrance, I think you need to try this before you buy it, even though it's cheap. And yeah, if you want an all-round scent, this ain't going to get you through the summer. But yeah, right, anyway, let's get this run done. I'm on about 5 miles at the minute, 6 to go. We're back from a run, managed to do just over 12 miles, so not bad at all. Now it's time to quickly spray my fragrance before I go downstairs and have a coffee. So essentially I'll come up in 10 minutes, see how much the fragrance has filled out the room, and hopefully we'll do 10. Hopefully it's going to smell really strong, but I'm not sure it's going to project as much as I thought. But what I'll do, I'll head down, have my coffee now, and I'll tell you how much I can smell it during my run. So projection, obviously you'd think of this fragrance sort of being quite strong, just based on the notes that are in it. There's no real sort of light notes, they're all pretty heavy. But as I was saying earlier, I didn't actually notice it at all on my run. Now obviously it's quite cold outside today, not very windy. I tend to find on a hotter day when it's a bit windier, that's when I really notice these sort of fragrances kicking up. But I do think maybe there's been some reformulation with this. It definitely felt stronger in the past. I haven't oversprayed it, but yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with the projection on this one so far. Again, a lot of people still say it's super strong. I'm not saying it's actually a bad thing. I think initially this actually used to be too heavy, so I don't blame that at all. It's just what I'm obviously used to. I'm sort of think of this scent as being quite strong in the past. So yeah, didn't notice it once on my run. I didn't even notice it when I stopped, but be interested to see once I finish my coffee. It's actually coffee today. Need to out. Be interested to see how much it fills the room. But yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from this. The juice looks quite light actually in it as well. Something I noticed before. It used to be a much darker juice, I think. So yeah, anyway, let's finish this. We'll head upstairs and yeah, we'll see how the projection's going. So 10 minutes has gone by. Time to head in my room and see if it's filled up the room. Right, I can definitely smell it. But again, it's not as strong as I thought it was going to be. I'll show you what I think as well with the juice. Just show you. This is obviously a very dark fragrance, but that is quite clear, isn't it? And again, I don't know if it's just not. It's an eau de parfum. I just don't think it's as strong as it used to be. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. I said obviously during my run, I don't think this is an office friendly scent. I think it could be now actually, and I think that's a good thing. As I said, it was super woody, super strong. I think it used to be a bit more smoky, and it feels a bit more syrupy sweet now. So yeah, I think give it an hour though, it's going to be gone, to be honest with you. So if you're expecting like this really strong woody projection that, you know, you've had this fragrance before, I don't think you're going to get it as much as you want. But for me, that's perfect. I think this is too heavy otherwise. It makes it much more versatile. I'm going to have to keep the versatile score as the same because it is still more of a sort of more of a winter scent. Can't use it in the summer or the gym. So I'm going to say then for projection, because I'm a little bit disappointed with this. I'm going to give it a 6. Yeah, it just doesn't fill up the room as much as maybe I would want it to. But again, I actually think for most people this is probably a benefit now. This is a good thing. So if you have tried it before and you think it was super strong, maybe just try it again and just see what you think. See if your opinion's changed a little bit, because mine certainly has. It's even changed during this morning. So yeah, very interesting. What I'm going to do now though, I'm going to head to the gym. Obviously, as I walk there, I'll talk about compliment factor. Have I had any experience of this? And yeah, what's the general sort of consensus of people I've asked, you know, in terms of their thoughts on this fragrance? To spray the arms. So this is for longevity later. So there's going to be 5 sprays on each. And yeah, what we'll do, we'll see in about 3 hours' time when I'm back home again how strong it is, how long it's lasted. But yeah, it's pretty strong for now. So I've just had a woman call me darling. She said, "Thank you, darling." Does that count as a compliment? I don't think it's because of the fragrance, to be honest. I had to stand in the road because her dog didn't like me, essentially. But let's talk about compliment factor then. So, have I had any experiences of this? Well, I normally say this, don't I? I've not really worn it for compliments. Um, Again, I've tried it at home with family and asked them what they thought. And I've never had any sort of ringing endorsement from it in terms of, oh yeah, that's really nice, what is that? What I would probably say is the sort of general vibe I tend to get from them, or have had in terms of comments, is that's an Arabic or Middle Eastern fragrance. That's what they tend to say. And again, it does give off that vibe, and I think that's probably why I've never felt that comfortable wearing it in terms of for compliments. It's not something that I think the average person, they might find it a little bit too different, a little bit. Again, if you've got that sort of boldness about you, I think this is lovely. Look, this has got some real complicated notes: vanilla, caramel, all those sort of notes that are in these sort of scents that are so popular for compliments. It's not an all-rounder, of course, and I think most people are looking, in terms of compliments, in fact, I said this before, blue fragrances because they're so versatile, but in terms of a winter sort of sweet scent, it's definitely got facets that can get you compliments, and I think someone could easily go, that's really nice, what is it? But there is also that other element of, yeah, this is a little bit different, this isn't that sort of juvenile, playful sort of caramel scent. This is a bit more grown up, a bit more smoky, a bit more balsamic. So it could be a little bit too different for some people, I think, a little bit far-fetched. And as I said, compliments tend to be the sort of thing they tend to be safer scents that you just feel like it's just going to work in most situations. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's a real, I wouldn't buy it necessarily for compliments, but I don't think it's one of those you couldn't get compliments on, put it that way. I think you definitely can get compliments on this, but for me, I wear it essentially because I think it's a really nice, cozy, inviting scent that just reminds me of, like I said, being outside, being by a fire, having marshmallows and stuff. So I wear it for me probably more than compliments, and that's probably what I'd still recommend it for. But as I said, I don't think it's completely serious and like an Aramis where it's really smoky, really bold. To be honest with you, I think it can do that. I think the right person will really like this and ask you what it is, and it will make you stand out for that reason. So as long as you've got an appreciation of those sort of Middle Eastern type scents, with incense, with oud, yeah, I think this is absolutely fine. I said I still think that syrupy sweetness is the dominant thing in this. That's why I'm really glad I've got it. So I'm going to say, for the average person, that's not about me, of course. I've tried so many different types of weird scents that I think certain fragrances are real good compliment getters that probably aren't. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think it's definitely got compliment sort of getting ability, but it is different, and you do have to accept that there is a Middle Eastern vibe to this, but it smells quality, and as I said, the right person smells it and likes it, you're onto a winner there. But yeah, if I get any at the gym today, we'll give it a 10. So workout done. Look at my hair. Keep mentioning it, but I'm actually not going to have a haircut. I just need to use some of my hair gels a little bit more. No compliments, but I'm really getting that caramel, and it's doing really well on my skin. So far, longevity's looking really, really good. A lot better than the projection. So you know what's going to happen now. It's time for a shower test, and then we'll give an overall score on longevity. Just left the gym 3 hours ago now since I applied this fragrance, so it was smelling quite strong before I went in the shower. So how strong is it now? The wind's picked up, hasn't it? Right, to be honest with you, it's about 20-25% as strong as it was. I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I think this is maybe where it's starting to reflect its price a little bit more, of being a bit of a cheaper fragrance. Now, I think for most people, and this is where I'm contradicting myself here, I think this would be seen as a good thing. This is a fragrance that I said was super strong before and probably would have been too strong for most people. But I'm also saying it as a compliment to, for myself as well, because I want it to be a bit stronger personally, because I love the scent so much. So it's not I'm not sort of putting it down in that sense. I'm trying to say, look, you're better than this. I think you can be that little bit stronger. I think I'd want to reapply this, but again, for most people on a cold day, it's warmed up now, as you see by the weather. As you could probably tell, there were people busy cutting trees there. How dare they interrupt my footage before I give a score for projection. So I think, just based on those factors I've just said, it's a hot day today as well, which I think you've got to consider. It's really warmed up. I reckon this would probably last about 4 to 5 hours if it was just a normal cool day and you were not doing all this exercise and stuff, which is not what it's for anyway, I think that's fine. When you're considering the price, £15, that's no problem at all. Obviously the bottle shape and size would make it a bit clunky, but yeah, I think it's going to be more than okay for most people, and for that reason I can't mark it down too much, even if I'm just that sort of person that wants stronger fragrances, particularly with the notes that are in this. Let's go 5.5. I think, as I said, it certainly isn't as strong as you'd expect with those notes, and I think some people would buy this expecting a little bit more, particularly if they've had it before. But yeah, it's still a good phrase. It's still absolutely worth buying that, and I've certainly had worse phrases for projection around that price range. So yeah, not too bad at all. Anyway, what I'm going to do, head back, have something to eat, and yeah, we'll count up all the scores and give my overall thoughts. So we are back home, 35,700 steps, all while doing my morning workout wearing Raghba Wood Intense by Natfa. So the overall score this got today, 70% overall, is 35 out of 50. So again, a pretty decent score, but it just felt with that strong start, just tailed off a little bit at the end, didn't it? And that was just on things like the sort of projection and longevity, really, because as I said, I remember this fragrance being a little bit stronger, and you can see that it's quite a clear juice now. I still go back to what I say though, this is a scent that I think actually is a good thing for most people, that it isn't as strong. I just really like the smell of it and would just like it a little bit stronger. But I also do think, and another thing that it kind of maybe didn't get the real high scores on, considering the notes like caramel and sugar, is it's one of those fragrances that you can just tell is a Middle Eastern one. I think this smells, though, in terms of quality for the price, well above its price range. So if you want to try something a little bit different this winter, it's got that Middle Eastern vibe, but it smells like a lovely burnt sugar, cozy caramel. Go for it. I really would definitely recommend it. For me, I'm going to get it again at some point as well. But I wear this one for me maybe more than I do for compliments. And yeah, as I said, I just wish, because I love the quality of this scent. There's a lot of complexity here. You've got balsamic, smoky, woody, sweet. It's got all those sort of really nice winters. They're blended together so well. Just want it to project a bit more because I just think it's amazing. I really like it, and this is a great scent. Don't think so. A lot of like Middle Eastern fragrances do tend to sort of go into the clone vibe. I don't think this is particularly a clone of anything. I think it's done its own thing. I love the bottle presentation on it. Again, I don't normally mention that, but yeah, it's really quality. A lot of Middle Eastern fragrances, to be honest, really are quality, but I definitely recommend with a lot of them, if you get an opportunity to try before you buy, please do so. I definitely definitely recommend doing that with this one, but obviously, normally they're quite hard to find in shops, so it's cheap enough for me personally to go and get it. But yeah, 35 out of 50. It's not a bad fragrance. I definitely recommend people getting it this winter if you want something a bit different. And it's quite hot outside now, but I'm going to wear it for the rest of today anyway. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Got a couple of interesting ideas coming up this week as well. I'm going to do a live dart stream as well this week, but I'm going to drink and eat fragrances, or fragrance notes, not literally eat fragrances, but yeah, I've got a bit of an idea with that one. So yeah, hopefully you'll join me for that, and there'll obviously be some more car videos, and yeah, we'll touch on some other different things as well. But I hope you're enjoying the content. Hope you enjoyed the Bentley Burglar video yesterday. There'll be more to come with that, and hopefully a few more comedy skits as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you later.